Hello everyone and welcome back to my Dark Souls 3 walkthrough. In this episode we are continuing the journey and we are going to High Wall of Lothric. Alright, and here we arrive. So let's move forward and let's open the door. Now, before I continue on, I am going to unequip this empty Ashen Estus flask, and I am going to equip fire bombs as one of the quick items. Right, so here we are, High Wall of Lothric. The first thing we see is a bonfire, so let's grab it. Now we can go this way, or we can also go this way, and I'm going to go over here first. So we are immediately greeted with an archer, or this guy with a crossbow, and instead of hitting him I hit a wall and I got shot in my right arm, I believe so. Anyway, I got shot. Right, so here more dogs, and now they are quick and annoying, but if you block their attacks you can then retaliate because they have a moment where they can't do anything. Alright, and hi, hello. Alright, let's bring this over here. That way we don't attract the other big guy. Alright, so let's take you out. And over here we also have another enemy, so let's execute a plunging attack. There we go. Right, a soul of a deserted corpse and a door that needs to be opened from the other side. Right, so now let's go back up the stairs and... well, hi. While the enemy is trying to get back up, I will charge up a strong attack, and there we go. Alright, now up here, up these stairs, we can find another one of the soldiers with a crossbow, and a longbow and some standard arrows, as well as this monstrosity, which is very dangerous at close range, but is very weak to fire. So let's use the fire bombs that we got to deal with this foe. Alright, that was close. So with the offensive stats of 14 strength and dexterity, this foe only requires 6 fire bombs to be brought down. And the first time we defeat this enemy we get a guaranteed drop of a Titanite shard and an ember. Right, so that's pretty much all we can find in this area. Let's now head the other way. Okay, so over here we have a bunch of these guys that are praying or something. Either way, they're not hostile if we don't hit them first. Right, so here we find a soldier and this guy with a lantern. Now, these guys with lanterns you want to take out as soon as you can, because they can alert other unaware enemies of your presence. Right, so now down here we can find this guy with a headache. There is also this item which is a couple fire bombs. And this enemy with some armor and a shield. There's also this item which we cannot pick up from here, so we need to find another way to get to it, which is up here and up those stairs. There's also another enemy with a lantern. This time let's not allow this guy to alert the other enemies. Let's instead take them out by surprise. By surprise, there we go. This guy dropped his trousers, which are worse than the ones I have already, so I'm not going to switch them. And up here we have a guy who was trying to be sneaky, and the guy who was taking a nap. Right, and there's also this item, which is a pair of binoculars, which funnily enough I intend to be using it. Now to get the item that we saw earlier, we need to go over here and drop, and that's how we get 2 gold pine resins. Now to progress forward, we need to go down here, and this is where we find yet another soul of a deserted corpse and some enemies. Right, let me take out this guy first. And I got a light crossbow from him. Right, let's get behind this guy and stab him in the back. So the one place that he cannot protect with a shield. Right, and now here we have a few guys. Let's try to deal with them one by one while avoiding the bolts from that guy. Alright. There we go. And now let's take care of this guy as well. Good. Alright, so up here, up these stairs, if you try to climb them, there's a scripted event that this Wyvern will fly down and will start breathing fire. And this is pretty much an environmental hazard. If we try to go down here, if we try to sneak by, the Wyvern will also breathe fire. Like that. And this fire lingers and deals damage if you walk over it. So now the way to get past this enemy is to go up the stairs. There are a few items here, which I will come back here later and loot them. Okay, this Wyvern should breathe fire anytime now. There we go. After that happens, we quickly run down the stairs and down here, which is just enough time to make it safely across. Right, so now over here we come across our first knight enemy. And as you might imagine, knights are more difficult than basic enemies. They have better armor, better sword and shield. So not only do they deal more damage, they also take less damage and have more health. Right, there we go. This guy is down, and over here we have some more sleeping soldiers. Let's make sure they no longer wake up. And another door that we have to open from the other side, which means we will have to go through the Wyvern's fire, but that will be slightly later in the playthrough. Right, let's take out this guy as well. And over here we have another soul of a deserted corpse. Now in here there's an enemy over here who tries to jump us. Cheeky little bugger. Anyway, when you arrive here, the first thing you want to do is go to the right and up the stairs, as there is a bonfire where you can rest, replenish your Estus, HP and other things, and you can also find another item over here, which is another Titanite shard. Alright, now moving on. Over here, if we follow this wooden beam, we get some more fire bombs, and down there are two enemies. One of them is patrolling and the other one is hangover, I guess. Let's deal with both of them, and now let me go outside, which is where we can find yet another soul of a deserted corpse, and we find a couple more enemies who are trying to be sneaky. So let's take them out. There we go. And I got the armor of this guy as well, which once again is not as good as the one I have right now, so I am not going to use it. Over here we have a couple more fire bombs, another one of these guys, so let's once again start throwing fire bombs. And once again I need 6 fire bombs to finish off this guy. And once again, just like with the previous one, the first time we defeat this enemy, we get a guaranteed Titanite shard and an ember. Now over here on the roof we can find one of these little guys. It's a crystal lizard, and what it does is it tries to run away from us and disappear. So the goal is to catch up to this guy, take it out, and we as a reward get some upgrade materials. Aside from that, there's also a large soul of a deserted corpse over here. Right, now moving on, we can go down this ladder, and there is an item down here, 3 black fire bombs, and there are also more enemies awaiting us here. So let's deal with them. Alright, yet another little party. Alright, so this ladder is our way down, but before we do that I am going to go inside this building, and the first thing I shall do is turn left, as there is another enemy with a crossbow, which we can just take out. And another guy with a lantern, but this guy wasn't as sharp, and instead of alerting all the other enemies that we are here, he decided to ambush us by himself. Right, so in here we had another enemy just waiting for us, and we pick up another Titanite shard. Now in this little corner there are some vases, another enemy, and an item, which is a couple undead hunter charms. This is also where we find another knight to deal with, and this one, instead of a sword and a normal shield, has a spear and a great shield, and I find these guys to be more difficult to deal with than their sword and shield counterparts. Right, I managed to get behind him, and while he's trying to get back up, let's execute a charged attack, and there we go. Another knight down, and we get a soul of a deserted corpse. Moving on, if we go forward, there's an enemy over here who tries to be cheeky, and was guarding an item which is a broadsword. Now broadsword is similar to the sword I have right now. It is more powerful, but it has a slightly different moveset. So I'm going to not be using that one. I am going to stick with the one I have right now. Right, so down there we have some enemies patrolling. We also have some barrels, which if they are hit with fire damage, they explode and deal damage to anyone caught in the blast. Also, that guy right there is just waiting for us to go down the stairs, and he will start throwing fire bombs of his own. So let's not allow that to happen. Let's instead go deal with him. Let's take out this guy on the way, and let's take this guy out with a backstab. Right, so these barrels we can use to our advantage, and in order to light my throws well, I am going to equip the binoculars. Right, so my goal, my target is right there, so I line it up to make sure they are in the middle of the screen, and then I look slightly up to account for gravity, and there we go. Alright, now the next target is over here, so once again let's make sure it's in the vertical middle of the screen. Let's look slightly up to account for gravity, and fire. There we go. Alright, aside from that, we can also find a Silver Eagle kite shield, which if you didn't start with the Knight class, this is the first shield that absorbs 100% of physical damage when you guard attacks with it. Right, let's take out this dog. Now over here we have another dog, so let's sneak up behind him and let's execute a charged attack. There we go. And this dog was guarding a cell key, which I am going to show in a moment where it can be used. Right, over here we find an Estus shard, and also below the stairs we find another Titanite shard. Right, let's now take out the last guy in here. So once again a backstab while he's trying to get back up, execute a charged attack, and then just finish him off. There we go. Alright, so down here is how we can drop to the courtyard down here, but I'm going to get there in a different way in a moment. But first there's something else in this room that I want to show. So in here there are these boxes that you can destroy, and sure enough, if you follow this path you can find another item, and this one is a couple green blossoms. You can also break these barrels and drop over here to find another chest, and this one is with Astora straight sword. Alright, now let's drop and let's go find that cell. About the Astora straight sword, it's a bit better early game than other swords, but it falls off later, and you also need to have 12 faith to wield it, which I'm not going to invest my points into faith just for a early game weapon. Right, so back to where we found the second bonfire. 3 stories below it, so we need to go down once again, where we find another guy with a halberd, and once again backstab into a charged attack, into light attacks to finish the job. Right, so over here we have more barrels, and another guy with fire bombs. So let's take him out. And over here we find another one of these guys and a mail breaker, which is a dagger. And the cell that this key unlocks is over here. And this is where we find our first NPC.
Ah. You're no jailer, are you? No, you're from far away. And judging by the bell, you must be some of that unkindled ash. Remarkable. If that's true, then I have a favor to ask. Below the high wall is a musty little town. Not the home of any lord, just a very old settlement of undead. An old woman, Loretta, lives there. Please, give her this ring. I'm not asking for charity. In fact, if you do this for me, I'll be sure to repay you in kind. I may be a petty thief, but I've more wits than most royalty. What do you say then? Huh?
Alright, I shall grant your request.
Very well. I humbly place my faith in you. I am Greirat of the undead settlement, and I promise to assist you. Give this ring to old Loretta at the base of the high wall. Do your part, and I'll do mine.
Alright, so now this NPC has gone to the shrine, and that is where we can find him from now on. Right, so over here we find some throwing knives, which similarly to fire bombs, it's a thrown projectile weapon. Right, so now let's go back to where the courtyard was, and let's finally get there. So down one ladder, down the second ladder, and now down the third ladder. Now in order to slide down ladders, you need to hold down the move stick and also hold down B button. Right, here we find a couple more of these guys, and there is also this chubby knight. That we can try to get behind and perform a backstab. I'm not sure how I took damage there. The guy must have farted or something. Right, once again, let's get behind him, get a backstab, and poke to seal the deal. And I happen to get a rare drop from this guy, its weapon. Anyway, in this courtyard we can also find 2 embers. And over here we find another one of these guys and a rapier, which is our first thrusting sword that we can find out in the world. Right, now moving on. The way to go forward is over there, but there is this guy who is trying to be cheeky, and this other guy who is also trying to be cheeky. Let's take out both of them. And instead of going there, I am going to go over here and up these stairs, as there is a large soul of a deserted corpse and another item that we need to jump to get it. And the item up here is a ring of a sacrifice. Now, in this game, whenever you die, you lose all your souls and leave behind a blood stain. If you make it back to your blood stain and you touch it, you can retrieve your souls, And this ring, basically what it does, if you put it on, you don't lose your souls when you die, but the ring itself breaks. So it's a one-time get out of jail free card, I guess. Anyway, here we had another party, and there is also another item we can find over here. It's 3 more green blossoms. Now these guys are consumables, and you can use them to temporarily increase your stamina regeneration. Right, so we arrive at this lift, where we find a few more throwing knives and a door, which takes us to where we were before. Right, so this can now act as a shortcut, so I will go back to the shrine and reinforce my weapon and my Estus flask. And I will also talk to Greirat. Right. So I would like to go over here and reinforce.
Well, Matt, 'tis good to see ye in good health. What needs smithing this day?
So I would like to reinforce my long sword. Now let's assume you didn't get all the Titanite shards that I did, so you only have enough for 1 reinforcement. So that's also what I shall do. And I would also like to reinforce my Estus flask. Thanks.
Pretty be careful. I don't want to see my work squandered.
Alright, and the NPC we found, Greirat, has set up a little corner over here. Hi.
Oh, hello, you're back. And in one piece. Well, now it's time I do my part. Whatever trinket you need, speak up. Just don't ask me where I got them.
So this guy is also a merchant, and from him we can buy some consumables, some weapons, shields, armor, and projectiles or ammunition.
Goodbye, and stay safe. Oh, this place is a bore. What good is thievery if you've nowhere to go?
Right, before I continue on, I would also like to level up a little bit. So let's talk to Firekeeper.
Welcome home, Ashen One. Speak thine heart's desire. Very well. Then touch the darkness within me. Take nourishment from these sovereignless souls.
And I would like to increase my health. There, that should be enough.
Farewell, Ashen One. May the flames guide thee.
Alright, so back to the High Wall of Lothric. Right, and now since the door is opened, we can utilize it and go this way instead. So let's do that. Yeah, if you were paying attention, you might have noticed that I deal about 20% more damage with the upgraded, well, reinforced weapon. I was dealing 90 damage instead of 75 to that dog. And and also taking out these guys will be easier. Though they still require 2 hits to go down. Speaking of going down, let's descend down here. Alright, and once again let's get this party sorted out. There we go. Alright, now let's go back on track. Let's deal with this guy. Deal with this guy as well. And over here we can find another soul for deserted corpse and a summon sign. So, when you are embered, you can summon other players or some NPCs, and they help you usually clear out the area, and in many cases NPCs can also be summoned just before a boss fight to help you deal with the boss. I am going to deal with these guys and the boss solo. So let me just lure this guy over here, that way I don't have to deal with 2 at once. And there we go. Now I need only 6 hits to defeat the knights. Alright, this big shield of his is kind of a problem. Let me try to kick it. It didn't work. Alright. Alright, I got 4 hits in, now let's get 2 more, and there it is. Another guy down. Now up here we find a third knight, ow, and this guy got the jump on me. So, good for him, bad for me, right? Alright, this guy by himself dealt more damage than the other 2 combined, which sometimes happens. Right, let's take a sip, and over here we can find Lucerne, which is a halberd type weapon. Now we need to go in here, but first I am going to go up here and deal with this guy. Now this guy has more health, more damage, and can also restore HP over time. So he's much more challenging than the other knights, but that won't stop me from challenging him. Right, good thing I blocked it on time. I'm not sure how much damage it would have done. Alright, and this is getting scary. Let me back off and heal. I need to try to get behind this guy to get a backstab, and there we go. Now let's charge attack. And the first time we defeat this guy, we get a refined gem. Right, let me heal once again. So, now in here there's an NPC that we need to talk to. Hello there.
The wait has been long, unkindled one. I am Emma, High Priestess of Lothric Castle. Allow me to speak frankly. You will not find the Lords of Cinder here. They have left, gone, to their churning homes converging at the base of this castle. Head to the bottom of the high wall, forge on through the great gate, and raise this banner to proceed.
All right.
This farewell gift is for you. It is the insignia of an old covenant. If you fear trespassers, dark spirits drawn by the embers, then etch this upon your heart, and the old Concord will beckon noble blue sentinels to hunt these foul spirits.
So, another property of being embered is that you can get invaded by other players or by NPCs. Now, the Covenant over here, Way of Blue, whenever that happens and you are part of the Covenant, so you have it equipped and you can see its icon in the upper left corner as well. Whenever you are invaded, there's a good chance that someone from the Blue Sentinels Covenant will be summoned to help you defeat the invader. But since I'm playing offline, this doesn't apply to me.
Unkindled one, head to the high wall's base. Go through the great gate and raise this banner to proceed. But beware, the dog keeps a close eye on things. The vile watchdog of the Boreal Valley.
Alright, that sounds very inviting. So let's go do that. To the bottom of the high wall. Alright, before we go down these stairs, to the right we have another one of these cheeky buggers who will try to snipe us if we're not careful. And some more guys with spears and shields. Let's deal with them as well. There we go. Right. So, the Great Gate. Now, before I go approach it, I am going to swap the binoculars to gold pine resin. I will explain why in a moment. So, the Great Gate. And the vile watchdog of the Boreal Valley. The second boss of the game. Right. So let's try to deal with him. Right. So as you might notice, I'm not doing a lot of damage because this guy has quite a bit of armor. But if I find a moment, like now, I can apply the gold pine resin to my weapon. Which will add a significant damage boost to my strikes. Right, now the boss is entering the second phase with its trademark move of charging 3 times and then charging the ice breath. Right, so let's stay away from him. Social distancing and stuff. Now, in the second phase, many of this guy's new moves pretty much make his entire body a hitbox, so you need to be vigilant, you need to be careful, and you need to have your finger on the roll button. Right, so your best window to attack this guy is right after he does the triple strike. If you manage to get behind him, you are free to dish out some nice damage. There we go. Vordt of the Boreal Valley has been defeated, and as a reward we get his soul, we get a bonfire and 3,000 souls. Right. And aside from that, the Great Gate also opens, and we can find another message. Peer over the cliff and hold up the banner. And that is how we can get to the next area, but I leave that for the next episode. I am going to finish up right here, so thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you later. Goodbye.